Hey Meredith. So I was listening to your video, and a lot of the stuff that you talked about, I talked about in mine as well. One of the biggest things that I hit on in mine was the idea that we clump a lot of different countries into the umbrella of Asia in terms of only thinking of them as like Chinese or Japanese or Korean. Um, I think that's a really important factor that I personally, and I'm sure you and other like of our classmates will think about when we're teaching, because we don't want our students to fall under that doing the same thing. And especially if you have kids and students from those countries that happen to be in your classroom, you don't want them to think that they are from one country, like the other students from one country. So I think it's very important that we, as future educators, work on making sure that does not happen in our classroom. Another thing that I really like that you brought up was the part where they pair the books with one in like their native language and their native like culture with a book that they're not so familiar with, and then like working with a partner. So by doing that, it's like partner working, kind of like a think pair share thing, except they may not have to share at the end. But so being able to kind of learn from each other about different cultures, and just being able to hear from somebody who actually has like lived that and everything. I think that's a really important part, because our students learn from each other um, a lot, and that's a good way to get them involved and interacting with one another. And lastly, I want to touch on the authenticity part. I know in one part of the articles, I can't remember exactly where, she talked about how a lot of times the main characters aren't, and like you said, like they're like the best friends on the side or something, but they don't play a main role. And even though the article said that like Asian Americans are becoming more prevalent in stories nowadays than they were in the past, I still haven't really seen it. So that's also something that I want to work on in my classroom, is if I do have books, when I do have books with characters of like different cultures and different ethnicities and races, I want to make sure they're authentic, and I hope to do that by like making sure that the author has either gone through that experience or is actually writing about their experience personally. So a lot of our points were the same, and you did a really good job. It was a nice long video. So great job.